Greece is asking for more breathing space to implement financial reforms and spending cuts, which have sparked years of widespread protests. The Prime Minister has to convince the eurozone top brass later this week that he's done enough to receive the next bailout installment. It's worth 31.5 billion euros, without which Greece will default and potentially exit the eurozone. Let's now talk to economist Antonis Samaras from Athens University, joining us live. Thank you so much for being with us today. Now, senior German politicians have already said Berlin won't tolerate handing out more money if enough is not being done right now. What are the chances of then getting 2 more years?
I very much fear that the chances are pretty good. And I say I fear because these 2 extra years are not 2 years during which to have an opportunity to put the Greek social economy back on track. It's just more time during which the Greek social economy will continue in an accelerating fashion its fall. German politicians have to decide 2 things. Firstly, what do they want to do with Greece? Do they want Greece in the eurozone or not? And secondly, how do they define the word enough that you mentioned when they say that they want the Greek government to do things that are considered to be enough before they release more funds? These are 2 fundamental questions, and I very much fear that Germany has not wrapped its mind around them yet.
You know, Finland's foreign minister said this week that nobody is forcing Greece out of the eurozone, and it's up to the Greeks to decide their own future. Now, if the country needs so much more time to get reforms together, isn't the decision out of Greece's hands?
The decision is out of Greece's hands. Greece is in a vicious downward spiral. The economy is imploding and collapsing very fast. There is no banking credit system to assist even profitable firms in the private sector of Greece. The state is insolvent, the banks are insolvent. So it's completely up to the eurozone to decide whether it wants to give Greece an opportunity to stay afloat in the eurozone, or whether it wants to push the Greek economy and society to a situation where they will simply throw their arms up in the air and surrender and leave the euro.
Now, Mr. Varoufakis, if Greece doesn't get the latest cash, this 31.5 billion euros, it will default on its massive debt. How wide will that shockwave be felt if that happens, do you think?
Not that wide and not that significant. Because let's face it, Greece has already defaulted last March to the private sector. A massive 75% haircut was imposed upon private bondholders in present value terms. Now the debt that remains, which is unsustainable and huge, is a debt to the official sector, to the European Union, to the European Central Bank, and to the IMF. Now that debt is going to be written down significantly, one way or the other. It's just that, the laws of nature, you cannot violate them. The question is, how is it going to be done? Will it be done in an anarchic manner, with Greece falling out of the euro, going to the drachma and then effectively writing off all its debts in euros? Or is it going to be part of a sustainable plan for rationally dealing with the crisis, not just in Greece, but also in Italy and Spain? And the eurozone is completely clueless on this matter.
Now, if the backlash won't be as wide or as far-reaching as you predicted won't be, then what about the central life? What about the people in Athens? I mean, Athens is being forced to pile more and more austerity on its people. What is life really like for people there? The everyday struggles that people have to face right now.
This is our Great Depression. In economic terms, resembling the Dust Bowls of the United States in the 1930s, but also in psychological terms. Most people are on the verge of manic depression, enraged one moment, depressed the next. The fact of the matter is that this is not a recession. It's not a situation where there is a reduction in economic activity and some firms are going under. This is a situation where everybody is going down a black hole, independently of how efficient, how well-meaning, and how productive and profitable they are. When you have such a situation, we are talking about a complete catastrophe.
All right. Thank you for joining us today. Economist Antonis Samaras from Athens University.
Thank you.